Hey y'all, happy Sunday. Welcome. Today, this is what we're going to talk about. Y'all ready to hear what we're going to talk about today? Because every Sunday it's something else. It's something new we're talking about. Today, we're going to talk about three things to help you move the needle with your fundraising. So, I'm going to talk about a framework that I will be using in my new membership community which will help you raise more money. Hey, Kim, good to see you. Hey, Nikki. Hey, everybody. Hey, WSA, right? I don't remember who people are on Instagram, so sorry if I'm not calling you by your real name. But I just want to say, welcome, everybody. I'm excited to be here today. We're going to be talking about the framework that I'm going to use for your for moving the needle. So everybody on Instagram, can you let me know? Give me a shout out. Oh, hey Willie. Okay, if I'm looking closer, I can see your face. Okay, all right. Don't mind me, I'm blind. Um, so y'all know the drill. Let us know your names, let us know the name of your organization, and let us know where you're from because you never know who is watching. And I think I shared this story on my live on Friday, but I'll share it also tonight. But somebody who listened to one of my podcasts actually donated to a nonprofit I have featured. So you just always need to be ready because there are so many people out here when they're inspired by stories, they want to give, they want to be activated. That's why I like to call myself the nonprofit activator because I want to activate people into doing good, right? So today, y'all, I am sharing a 3-step process for you getting results for your nonprofit. And this is specifically about fundraising. So, all right. So, what I want to do, y'all, is first ask you a question. I need y'all to talk back to me in this particular live. Hey, Beth, I want you guys to tell me what are your biggest needs when it comes to fundraising? What are your biggest needs when it comes to raising money? Because the framework that we're going to talk about tonight is all about how to get you closer to your goal. But I find that sometimes you're not even you don't even have a goal, right? You're not even sure what you're focused on. You just know you need to make money. You just know that it's frustrating because you feel like people should know that you need money, but people aren't necessarily giving, right? And so I just want to share the framework that I'm going to use to motivate my people, my community, and activate your purpose and profit to get moving. So activate your purpose and profit. Does anybody know what that means? I mean, if you've been following me, you should know what that means. But it is my new membership society where nonprofit founders can find their people, they can get motivation, encouragement, and most of all, accountability as they move along their fundraising journey. And it is all about teaching you how to raise money for your nonprofit and giving you the different ways and giving you insight on how to make more money for your nonprofit. And what makes it so powerful is that people are coming together across the world, really. Y'all, we have somebody from Ghana. We international, baby. We got somebody from Ghana who is participating and she's part of the community. So if you are not in the community yet and you know you need to join, you know you need to hear from other people just like you, go ahead and click that link. And also on YouTube and Facebook, I have the QR code up so you can take a picture and you can join. Just to let you know, the doors aren't open forever. I'm closing the doors on the 15th of March so we can really, really get to work and we can really get busy. And also, there are introductory prices right now, but they're going away on Wednesday. So if you're in your head and you're like, oh, I don't know, should I do it? I don't know if I should trust Tiffany. I don't know. Like she seemed like she knows what she's talking about, but I don't really know. You can honestly get started for $35 today. And imagine your investment of $35 today, how it will change everything for you. There are people who've gotten coaching from me who a year ago didn't have anything going on with their nonprofit, and now they actually have programming and have raised money. So my advice to you is click the link in the bio on Instagram. I'm also dropping it um, in the comments. and also putting it on the page in YouTube. All right. All right. All right. Let's go. Okay. So I asked the question, what are your biggest needs? What are you struggling most with when it comes to funding? Somebody said unrestricted grants and trust philanthropy grants. Okay. So I see one. Hey, Linda. I see one. Any other needs that you have? Hey, LaDonna, when it comes to your nonprofit, when it comes to raising money. Any other questions? Anything else? I mean, this your time. This your time to shine. All right. So I'm going to wait till y'all drop the comments, and I know there may be some delays, but I just want to share a little bit of why I created this framework, because I realized that, when you're running a nonprofit, there's so many things that distract you. There's so many things that take your attention, and we forget about the things that really matter, and we get stuck in busy work, right? And we get stuck in movement or action, but the actions don't have any direction, right? And they don't have a true purpose. So my goal around this framework is to get people to really nail down the things that they really need to move the needle. Can y'all say move the needle? Somebody say move the needle. That's what this is all about. And it's really difficult for you to raise money if you're not intentional about it. If you're not intentional about how you're going to raise money, the strategy you're going to use to raise money, the different practices you're going to put in place to raise money, if you are not intentional about that, then you're not going to see the money that you need. And a lot of times, is this you? Just let me know if it's you. A lot of times you don't do consistent action because you're not really sure if it's really going to work, or you may be feeling let down if it doesn't work, because if it doesn't work, you're not sure what to do next. What happens if it doesn't work? What happens if I do all I think I can and I hit a brick wall? So sometimes, like, that is real for me. Sometimes because of that, I may not move or may not focus on what I'm supposed to be focused on because I'm afraid. I'm really, really afraid of what could or couldn't be. So in this live, I'm going to talk about, it's a very simple framework that we're going to be using in the society, so you know how to focus. Y'all ready? All right. Y'all said move the needle. Hey, from Uganda. Okay. I see people say unrestricted grants, major donors, tax prep, and asking for money. Asking for money. Okay. So my needle framework has three things: need, results, and action. Needs, results, and actions. Okay. So I'm going to break each one of these down. It's actually not going to take a lot of time because it's very simple. So one of the first things I'm asking everybody in the Activate Your Purpose and Profit community, one of the first things I'm asking them to do is every month you need to be focusing on one strategy. What is the one strategy that you're going to use to raise money, right? And you can follow along with us in this process, but why not join so you can get assistance as you're creating this for yourself? Wink, wink. So the first thing is, what is the strategy you want to work on? You need to pick something. Is it you're raising money from individuals? Is it that you're launching a campaign to get some major donors? Is it that you're going to do something for peer-to-peer? Is it that you're trying to get a certain amount of grant funding to launch your program? It needs to be focused. What is the thing, right, that you want to focus on? Then I'm asking people, what is the goal? So if you know that you're trying to get money for a program to launch, how much are you trying to get from grants, right? As an example, you need to know how many grants you should be writing, correct? If you know you want to raise money from grants, you need to know how many grants you need to write. And you also need to set a deadline for yourself. So I'm not even in the framework yet. All I'm saying to folks is, what is the strategy you're going to work on? What's the goal for that? The numeric goal that you're trying to reach for this strategy. and what's the deadline. Okay. So, for example, I know that I need to raise $10,000 and I'm going to try my hand at a peer to peer fundraising strategy, and I'm trying to launch it in May. I'm doing something with foster care. This is all made up, y'all. I'm doing something for foster care month because foster care month is May. And I want to get together a group of people to run a peer to peer fundraising campaign that's going to launch on May 1st and end on May 31st. And I'm going to raise $10,000. Can y'all see how specific I'm being? That's the first thing. Can y'all hear how specific I am? I need to get down to the core. Now, you may need to raise 50,000, right? But your 50,000 may not only come from that peer-to-peer strategy. Your 50,000 may not only come from one thing. It may be broken down. So, for implementing this framework, we're just taking a piece of that. And I need y'all to understand how important it is for you to break things down. Because if you look at your fundraising in a too big of a way, for lack of better words, I'm not very eloquent with that. But if you look at it for what it is, it will overwhelm you. So I really recommend that you break it down into the strategies that are going to get you there. I need you to temper your expectations. I need you to know, be reasonable, be real, and build up to what you need to be, like what you need to get to. All right. Does this make sense? Y'all didn't know I was teaching today. I should have brought my pencil out, because when my pencil is out, that means I'm teaching. That means you should have a pencil. That means you should have some paper, because I'm going to break some things down. So that's the first thing. You should always know what you're focused on, where you headed. What are you working on? What's the goal around that particular strategy? And well, I need you to put a deadline on it. When do you need that done, or in what space are you doing it? Okay. Hey, Cheryl. That's the first thing. Now, let's move to the needle framework. The first part is need. Can somebody put need in the chat? Right? And need is what area should you be paying the most attention to this month to get you closer to the goal? And so part of the reason why I said the need is because what is the biggest need to get to your goal? What is the thing that you need to focus on the most if you know you need to launch a campaign May 1st? So I'm going to use my example. I know that I am launching May 1st. So I need to make sure I have at least 10 people who are signed up to help me raise this money in May. I'm going step by step. So I know I'm going to do a peer-to-peer fundraiser. I know it's launching May 1st. In preparation for that, I need to make sure that I line up 10 people, right? So my biggest need and the biggest area I need to focus on is finding the people that I need and preparing them for May 1st. That's need. Okay. Hey, Darby. The second thing is, what's the result that I'm looking for? Somebody say result in the chat. Okay. The result is, at the end of this month, what do I need what's the outcome that I need to see to feel like I accomplished what was the biggest need? I'm not very eloquent tonight, but y'all get it. So what's the end result? Once I get to the end of the month, what needs to have happened over the past month for me to feel like I moved the needle? Get why I'm calling it the needle framework, right? So what is the result? And whenever we talk about results, we need to use numbers. So I already called out a number. My number was 10. I know I need 10 people. I need 10 people who are signed up and ready to go. So that's the result that I'm working on in order to get to my May 1st deadline. Now, somebody say action. Action, action, action. The last part is, what's the action or actions I need to take every week in order for me to get to those 10 people. Right? So I'm not even at the point where I'm ready to raise money, because you have to realize that to run campaigns, to be able to do this work, you don't just show up one day, write a social media post, and then pray to God that somebody sees it and runs with it. That's not how this works. If you want to raise a significant amount of money, that means that you need to be structured. You need to be intentional about this, right? So the actions, I then need to ask myself, what are the actions I should be taking every week to make sure I can get to those 10 people? Y'all gonna help me build my actions, my action steps? So I should be thinking about, okay, I need a list of 10 people. Who are the 10 people? Where are they coming from? Right? Then I need to ask myself, okay, I should be reaching out to them, because I said by the end of the month, they all need to be signed up. So I need to be reaching out to them. Okay, but what am I going to say when I reach out to them? Or what kind of information am I going to give them when I'm reaching out to them? Right? So I'm building my action list, right? So I probably need something written down when I talk to these people, when I talk about this. Thank you, Kamika. Everybody shout out Kamika at Thriving Kinship for giving us $19.99. We appreciate you. You get the money done. Where's my air horn? Thank you, Kamika. You the bomb, girl. Right? So I'm thinking through my list. Okay, so those are the things I need to do. I need to have a one pager available for the people who I'm going to sign up for this thing. I'm going to do a little bit extra. I'm going to get them all signed up, and I'm going to do a group call, because I know that people get motivated by competition. So if people know they're doing this with somebody else and they're raising money with somebody else, then I should probably do a group call and work on scheduling that. And then I should probably know, when I'm telling these people that I need them to raise money for me, that I need to give them a goal they're raising for. I need to have some information about how it will work. I need to have some details. So let's stop right here so you can understand what I just did. I said to myself, I know I want to launch something in May, right? So this month, what do I need to do to make sure I'm ready for May? So I said to myself, what's the biggest area I need to focus on to make sure I'm ready? And I said, I got to get my people together. I got to get 10 people. And then I said, at the end of the month, if I have 10 people signed up, I'll be good. That's my result. So I did my need. I talked about my results. And then I laid out my actions. I sat down and asked myself, in order to feel like at the end of the month, I did everything I needed to do to get these people here, right? These are all the things that need to happen. So then what I'm telling or asking my community to do and activate your purpose and profit is write out your weekly plan. So I know in week 1, I need to do this. Week 2, based on all the actions I just listed out, this is what I'm going to do from week to week in order to get it done. And in our community, I'm asking people to commit to doing something at least once a week, only focused on fundraising. Only focused on fundraising. Okay. And by doing that, they're being intentional and focused so they can move the what? The needle. It's already up. I got your text line. It's already up. It's the QR code. So that is the framework that we're going to use every single month, because I don't want us to be spinning our wheels trying to figure out what do we need to focus on. No, we need to identify first what's the biggest thing that we need to worry about, what should be done, and let's do the actions that move that forward. Does that make sense, y'all? Talk to me in the chat. Talk to me in the chat. So if you are in the Activate Your Purpose and Profit community, y'all put APP in the chat. APP stands for Activate Your Purpose and Profit. If you have already signed up, because a couple of y'all are in here, put APP in the chat. Let people know you here, because come on, don't play me like that. There you go, Cheryl and Kim. All right. So the purpose of me creating the community is so that people have a space where they're seen and they can stay focused so they can get the help they need. So when a question comes up on an action that they're working on, or they did something and they're stumped, or they did something and they need feedback, then they have people that they can go to get that feedback, to get that help right away. All right. So my thing is, we can't do this by ourselves. And we're not made to do this by ourselves. Unfortunately, COVID, I feel like, let me know if y'all agree with me on this one. I feel like COVID created an environment where we were okay, maybe not being okay being isolated, but being isolated became normalized. And it was normal to be in the house and not interact with people on a regular basis. So, us coming out of that, there's an even stronger urge and yearning to find your people. And adding to that, that we've talked about this already, being a nonprofit founder, a startup nonprofit founder, is one of the most isolating experiences you could ever have for yourself. It is one of the most isolating, it is one of the most scary. It can be one of the most draining experiences ever. And it's so unfortunate because you did this to help somebody. Y'all, there's a ladybug in here. It is messing with me. Did y'all see it fly on my head? I have ladybugs in my house because I live in the country and they keep messing with me. So if you see one fly on my face, don't be surprised because one did that the other day. I'm sorry, y'all. This is what you're going to get on the lives, okay? On the pre-recorded videos, I'm a little bit more composed and together. But on these lives, y'all, the ladybug, now it better not be no stink bug because then we're going to have a problem, okay? Because y'all know how I act when I see a stink bug. Yolanda and Nikki, y'all know how I act. All right. So, ladybug is my new name. She keeps flying around. We distracted me. All right. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the questions, but I want to ask y'all this. Are you ready? That's the question I'm going to ask you. Because I know a lot of y'all watch my videos and I know you walk away, you're motivated, you feel excited, but then the next day you face reality. Then you got to come back for more. And what I'm sharing with you is that you need to have that space where you can be pushed to the next level, because nobody else is going to come to you and get you there. It's up to you. You want to know the deciding factor in what happens in this next year in your life? It really is you. It really is you. So I want to push and I want to encourage you to sign up for the community because it'll be a place where you're understood. And I made the lowest tier affordable so that people could get in. Now I have introductory prices that will go up. The price will go up. I need to find the thing. The price will go up on Wednesday. So if you want to get in, you want to see, we're getting started with our first conference call tomorrow. Yolanda's dropping the link in the chat, but you can also look in my bio on Instagram. And also, if you just put join, my automations will send you the link. So just put the word join in the comments. And on Facebook, my automations will pick up. On YouTube, just click the link in the comments that Yolanda's dropping. Or if you need the link, just say, I need it. Okay? So I'm going to go back through some questions. And for all of the people who are watching right now, and you're trying to decide if this is something you should really do for yourself, I did this last week, so I'm gonna do it one more time for y'all. For those who are interested, for the next 5 people who sign up after 8:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will give you a free call tomorrow. And my free calls are booked up until the end of March. But I cleared my calendar tomorrow so that I can talk to the people who want to join, who want to move the needle for their nonprofit. So if you join the community, the first 5 people after 8:25 will be able to sign up. So the link is, if you go to my bio and you click the link in my bio for the community, you'll see it. All right, makes sense, y'all. So I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to take a few questions and see what this is. And I'm going to share. Okay, Shoshana said, write one grant each month, earn $3,000 in the next fundraising campaign. All right, Shoshana, go after that, girl. I'm going to push you to do more. Because one thing that we learned in my grants webinar that I did last week, and I'm doing another one on Wednesday, is that it takes a lot of grant applications to win. So some people estimate only 10% of the grants that you write, you win. Some people estimate up to 30% of the grants that you write, you win. But it all depends on your organization. It all depends on the funder. It depends on the type of program you're writing for. There are a lot of factors that go into it, but the bottom line is you have to write a lot. So I love that you committed to one grant a month. You got this. And so my encouragement to you is every month, add to it. Every single month, add to it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take one more example. Let's use the grant example, right, with my needle framework. So you know that you need to write, let's say the strategy is grants, right? And you know you want to write for at least $15,000 in grants. So you know in order to get to that, you want to write at least 20 grants to get to that. And you're asking for $5,000. You're asking like an average of $5,000 for each. And you're going to do this between now and June because your program is gearing up in the fall. And if you know anything about a grant, it takes that long for you to sign up. Like it takes that long for them to award the funding sometimes. It takes sometimes even longer than that. Right? So you say, okay, I know I need to write 20 grants. I think that's what I said. Right? So this month, if I need to write 20 grants by June, what do I need to do right now to make sure I get to June, right? So what is the thing? What is the need? What is the biggest need right now that's going to move the needle? Well, the biggest need is I've never written a full grant proposal. I don't even know who I want to apply to, right? So that's the two biggest things for me right now. I don't know who to apply to, and I don't know, I've never written anything. That's my biggest need. So then let's go to the next step. What's the next one? Result. So in order to move the needle, what's the result I need to have at the end of this month? Knowing that I need to focus on focus on the funders and focus on writing that proposal. Okay, so at the end of the month, I should have a list of at least 20 funders I'm going to apply for. And I should have written a sample proposal for at least 2 of those. I'm being real conservative. I'm being easy on you. Being easy. Right? So I know that if I focus on that, that's going to move the needle because then I'll be ready to start writing for the next month. So my actions are going to be, I'm going to figure out who those 20 funders are. And based on what Tiffany said in her webinar, I'm going to use the strategy she talked about in the webinar to find local funders, right? I'm going to look and see who would be most interested, who's aligned with the work that I do. And I'm going to create a list of at least 20 funders. I'm being so conservative because I would push you to do so much more than this. But this is to get you going, right? So by the end of the month, I would have, if I have 20 funders, I would have at least written 2 sample proposals and gotten that list of 20 funders. So when the next month rolls around, I'm going to focus on writing even more. This is what you should be thinking about. Another way to look at this is, I know, because I love that Cheryl brought this up. Let's talk about what Cheryl just said. I need grants for someone to upgrade my website so that I can add the stories of my clients, impacts, and outcomes, right? I'm just going to say it's difficult to get monetary grants for that, but sometimes marketing companies will grant you the services. So I've seen that way more when it comes to that kind of thing. You may find like a capacity building grant, but when funders mean capacity building, they more so want you to hire like a consultant for strategic planning and stuff like that, right? So you would go after like a marketing company and see if they would be willing to do some stuff for you pro bono. That is an option I would think about. But I want to focus on what she said, impacts and outcomes. Because whether you realize it or not, your funders look at you. Whether you realize it or not, they go on your website. Whether you realize it or not, they research you outside of a proposal. Now, every funder is different though, okay? So just keep that in mind. Every funder is different and their capacity is different. But you are way more likely to win when a funder knows who you are. And if a funder knows who you are, then they're going to come looking for you. They're going to want to see your efforts. They're going to want to see what you're talking about. They're going to want to see the language you're using. They're going to want to see the activities you're doing, right? And so you should be thinking about, what do people see when they come to my website? What do people see when they look on the internet? Is there anything about my organization? Is there anything about what we do anywhere, right? And have I reached out to those people to let them know we exist? Because too many times we're passive about going after grant funding or any kind of funding. We want people to come to us. We want people to find us. No, honey, go after them. Go introduce yourself. Say hello. Let them know. Let them know. You cannot be passive about this process. We talked about this on the grants webinar, didn't we, y'all? You can't be passive about this. You cannot afford to be passive when it comes to a startup organization. You're a startup. You got to be scrappy. And nobody's going to make excuses for you, right? And nobody's going to most people aren't going to feel sorry for you because you're a startup. But also because you're a startup, that means you're doing something different. That means you're bringing attention to something that people need to know about. So by default, you have to be loud. By default, you have to be bold, because people need to know what you got going on. People need to know why you started, because there's no other reason why you would have decided to interrupt your life, interrupt your relationships, interrupt what you got going on with your jobs to do this, because something ain't right. And people need to know. And if there's ever a moment that you hesitate and say, I don't think I want to ask anybody, or I don't think, I'm afraid to share, think about why you exist. People need to know you exist. People need to know that something ain't right. And if you don't tell them, how else will they know? So part of fundraising, I'm on a rant, y'all. I'm almost done. But part of fundraising is it's not just asking for money. Part of fundraising is educating people about what they need to care about. It's educating people about something that's not going well. Think about it. If you didn't know about a disaster, or if you didn't know about a tragedy happening somewhere, you would have never in life given to it, especially if it's in a completely different state from you. It is not even something you've experienced yourself, right? So people who are dealing with a tornado, and you see on the news, you see the devastation, people's houses are flattened, right? You see that, you're being educated about something that ain't right. I'm trying to make this as basic as I can so y'all can get it. And because you see that and you connect with it, now you want to give. You would have never given to somebody in Kansas or Texas. You probably ain't never been there, for people who don't live there. At least in that little town, you didn't know that person who was on the news report talking about they lost everything or they lost family members. You didn't know them, but you felt the urge to give, though, when you were educated, when you were engaged, when somebody told you about something that was going on that wasn't right. Right? So I'm just encouraging you, the point of you being a startup is for you to be loud. It's for you to be bold. You can't afford not to be. You can't afford to tiptoe in this space. You can't afford to be meek. You can't afford to say, I'm afraid because it will look like I'm this if I do this. What I want you to do is remove yourself from that, because your job is not the beggar, you're the messenger. I'm not, this is, none of this is in my notes. I don't know where this is coming from. Your job is not a beggar. Y'all think y'all are professional beggars. And people laugh and joke about that in the nonprofit space. I don't like that, because, first of all, you're not begging anybody to do what they should be doing, especially these corporations, especially these foundations who make their money off the consumers, who make their money off of exploitation half the time, right? Who make their money off the stock market. They didn't necessarily earn it. You know what I mean? It isn't their hard-earned money. Not all of it, right? So they have an obligation to give. So you're not begging them. What, you begging them to do what they should be doing anyway? You're the messenger. You're letting them know, hey, hello, this is happening. We need to work together to fix this. Make sense? Make sense? All right. I just went on a complete rant. I am so sorry, but it is what it is. I saw a question. How do you respond to, oh, that sounds like what so-and-so is doing? Great question. One of the first things you need to do when you are starting your organization is be very clear about who you are and why you're different. Because you're going to be met with a lot of objections about, well, why this and not that, right? Or why now, not later. And part of what you're doing, a part of fundraising, is persuading people that this is the moment and they need to give to you because you do this way. Okay? So you should be writing down for yourself, why are you different? Because that's a legitimate question. I don't think there's anything wrong with that question. That is actually a legitimate question. That sounds like what they're doing. So you need to ask for yourself, say for yourself, okay, well, how are we different? Why? How do we do the work differently? Do we approach it differently? Are we serving people differently? Do we have a certain level of expertise that those people over there, so-and-so, don't have? You should have that written in your notes, right? So that when people do ask that question, you're ready. Because honestly, that's a legitimate question. There's nothing wrong with that. And I don't want y'all to feel a type of way when people question what you do, or feel a type of way when you get some pushback, because a lot of times they're legitimate questions. You are a new organization and people want to be assured that wherever they're giving their money is something legitimate. So you have to do some of that work to show them they're legitimate. And part of doing that is educating them. When they feel like you know what you're talking about, when you're informing them about something, they begin to trust you, whether you realize it or not. And trust is a key step before somebody decides to give to you. So you got to build trust with your people. And part of that trust exchange is you being able to answer questions and make the right arguments about why you. Okay? Make sense? Y'all. You see how I just went on this rant? I'm telling you. When I get on my Monday calls, it's going to be like Sunday morning. So part of the Activate Your Purpose and Profit Society, which the doors are closing on the 15th. So if you want to join, you need to sign up now. You should not be waiting. But part of what I'm going to do on Mondays is provide encouragement for you as the leader, because you need to be sewn into as the person. And then I'm going to provide some advice on what to do to move the needle for you for the week. You know, something that you should be thinking about, something you should be aware of. So I'm taking care of the person, you as a person, and your organization. Because no matter what, you still have to be whole. You still need to get what you need to show up fully for your organization. Because a lot of times you're the only one doing everything. And if you're not okay, then the organization is not going to be okay. And I fully believe you should not be sacrificing yourself for a mission. That's not what I believe. I do not believe you should sacrifice yourself for your mission. And this is coming from a person who helps a lot of people. I always like to help people. That's my thing, even to my own detriment sometimes. But I have realized, you still have to be whole. You still have to be good. And I want you to be good, right? So I want to be the motivator in your life so you can hear you're doing a good job. You got this. That is the purpose. That is why I'm doing those Monday conference calls. So if y'all in the Activate Your Purpose and Profit Society, APP, drop it in the chat. If you're part of the society, then I already dropped the conference call number. And I'm going to see you tomorrow. Well, I won't see you. You're going to hear me at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they will be recorded so you can watch them, listen to it later. All right? Y'all, any questions? I probably forgot some things, Yolanda. I'm going to recap what we talked about today, especially for those who were late. But I just want to say thank you, give a couple shout outs to people who joined. Willie joined, Kim joined, Cheryl joined, Holly joined, Georgia, Malika, Monica, Kitwana, Talib, Rita, Cynthia. Hey, Rita. Y'all, just want to drop a couple of y'all and just to say thank you. So, again, the society closes on the 15th. If you want to get in, you got to get in. You can't wait. You can't hesitate. Part of this process is being able to execute, like being able to just go, right? And it just takes an investment of $35 for you to get started. Now, there are different levels. If you want to get training from me, if you want to get one-on-one coaching from me, there are different levels that go up in price, but you'll get 50 training videos immediately when you join for $35, right? You'll get templates immediately when you join for $35. You'll be on the call with me immediately when you join every Monday. So I just want to encourage you, y'all, that if you're waiting, now is not the time to wait. Now's the time to move and to execute. We're going to do that together. Oh, Linda, I didn't say Linda. Yes, Linda, thank you for joining. I see you, girl. I ain't forget about you. I did not forget about you. Thank you for joining, Linda. And I'm excited because my goal is to share. I want to share with my platform what y'all are doing. Because every time I talk to y'all, because I've talked to a couple of y'all on the phone just this past weekend, I hear about the stuff y'all are doing. And y'all are doing some amazing stuff. And y'all are doing it with no funding. Can you imagine how much more you'll be able to do with funding? Can you imagine like what that will be like with funding? I'm serious. I am not lying. Every time I hear what y'all are doing, I am taken aback. Like, you're doing what? And so many times people tell me, oh, I'm just doing that. I just been doing that for 10 years. I just go out every weekend and take a trailer and take food and feed hundreds of people. And I just be like, okay, y'all, you're doing a lot of stuff and you're amazing. And it deserves to be seen. You deserve to be heard. People need to know what you're doing. And oh man, too many times y'all are so afraid to tell people. Y'all are so afraid because you feel like you're going to be exposed or you feel like it becomes about you. No, people want to help you. People want to support you. People will be just as impressed and even more impressed by what you're doing when you hold back. You are holding back so much for the people you're helping. I don't want you to hold back, right? So my job is to elevate you. I don't know if y'all are everybody's a believer, but I want y'all to know I meant to share this in a reel and I'm almost done. Y'all, I'm in rare form tonight. That's because I didn't take a nap. So anytime I'm a little sleepy, I'm in rare form. But one thing that I did for this community in preparation for it, I decided in October that I was going to do this. And the one thing I decided was that I was going to be very intentional about the people who were joining, not just the organizations, but the people. So the one thing that I decided to do was pray for y'all, pray for your organizations, and fast. And I wanted to be very intentional about it, about how I approach this. And I wanted to take this very seriously. So you may not be a believer, and I'm not asking you to be a believer just to join my community. Absolutely not. But I'm a believer, and I believe that every encounter that I have with people is a responsibility. And I believe this is my calling to encourage you. And so my job is to write your names, is to say your names. And I need you to know that somebody is rooting for you. I need you to know that somebody is thinking of you. Somebody is praying for you. And you don't know like how powerful it is, how amazing it is to know that somebody out there is praying for you. And I'm going to say this before I go because I think I'm about to cry. I have had several people in my life recently pass. And one of the hardest things, one person in particular who passed last year, one of the hardest things about losing her was that I knew she always covered me. I knew that if it was one person who was always thinking about me, who was always praying for me, who, besides my mother, of course my mama gonna hold me down, but she was a covering for me. And her dying was like, it was gone. You feel exposed. You're like, oh my goodness. The one person who I knew, the one person who I felt every time I think about her, I feel like a warm blanket is gone physically. And what she taught me was the power of prayer. And the quiet power of prayer, because she was a powerhouse, but she was quiet, very much like her. And I don't take it lightly that I've been able to experience that. And I know it's my job to be that way for everyone else I encounter. She was a teacher, so she touched a lot of lives. And I want to do the same thing through her. So I did not plan to say this. Sorry, y'all. But I just want you to know that it's just something powerful about knowing that you're covered. And I believe in y'all. And I believe in your organizations. I believe in your missions. And honestly, no matter what happens, you're prayed for, you're being covered. And that is my goal and my job in my community. So I'm not just pushing the community because I'm like, hey, give me your $35. Like, no. That is so much more. There's so much more than this. It's so much more than just that. It is because I've seen with my own eyes how bad it is out there. I've seen with my own eyes how people are struggling. They don't have a voice, and you have the ability to give them a voice, and you have the ability to bring light to what people are going through, and you shouldn't take that lightly, because I don't take it lightly, and you shouldn't either. You should look at yourself so much higher than you do. So many founders I talk to down themselves so much. They talk so negatively. Oh, I don't know anything. I don't do this well. I'm not good at this. And I need you to think so much more highly of yourself, because from what I see, you're amazing. And nobody else would do the things that you do. Who else would do what you're doing? So that's it. I'm done, y'all. I'm done. I'm so done. I don't even know what's on the plan. I have no clue. I have no clue what else I'm supposed to talk about. Yolanda and I had a whole plan. But thank y'all so much. Let me recap real quick. So if you joined late, I just talked about my needle framework, and I talked about how to move the needle, especially when it comes to fundraising. So be clear on the strategy you're working first, and make sure there's a goal around that strategy and there's timing around that strategy, right? And then you're going to think about the need, the result, and the actions. So the need is, what's the biggest area of need you need to address to move the needle? The second thing is, well, what's the result you need to see at the end of the month? Because this is a monthly strategy. So what is that result that you need to see? What needs to be done and completed at the end of the month, right? Based on that biggest need. And then what are the actions? List all the actions you need to take to get to that result, and sketch it out week to week. You should be working on something consistently every week so that you can get to that result, so that you addressed the biggest need related to your fundraising strategy. All right. Thank you so much, Shauna, for the $5. You're the bomb. You get the money, money. If you haven't joined the Activate Your Purpose and Profit Society, go ahead and do that today. As I said, the first 5 people who joined after 8, Yolanda had the time. I think it was 8:25. I will have a call with you tomorrow. We can talk. We can chat. Thank you all for who joined already. I will see you tomorrow morning, and I will see everyone else here next Sunday, 8 o'clock. I'm here every Sunday, unless it's a holiday or something going on. I'm going to be going live every Sunday. This is what I do. And if you need the link on Instagram, click the link in my bio or DM me, and I'll send it to you. Okay? Be good to each other. Enjoy. Good night. Good night. Bye.